little bit different, but it's a video I've been wanting to do for a long time. On a pretty regular basis, I have a conversation with people about introversion and extroversion. I will tell you what I am at the end, and it always surprises people, and I think that's how the conversation kind of gets started. When you think of an introvert or an extrovert, I think extroverts tend to think that introverts are shy, reserved, quiet, tend to not say much, and then introverts think that extroverts are just boisterous and loud and obnoxious, and that's really not the case at all. And I spent a great deal of time over the past, I don't know, like I would say 10, 12 years studying typography and personality types and things of that nature. I just think that when you understand those things, especially as they relate to yourself, you can better show up to the world. Self-awareness is a rare commodity, and people do not take the time to learn about themselves. People generally know more about how to operate their smartphones than they do about themselves. And so I'm gonna encourage you to actually take the time to learn about yourself. And so that's why I always post up, if you follow me on Twitter or Instagram, I will always post up like different books that I think really help in that regard, or links or blog posts or anything like that, because I think that people need to know who they are, because if you know who you are, then you kind of know what you bring to the party, if that makes any sense. Okay, so introversion versus extroversion. I am actually an introvert, and this surprises people all the time, because I actually had a conversation the other day and they said, how are you an introvert? I walked into a room and you were talking, and you were the only one talking and everybody was listening to you. And so what I had to explain was introversion has nothing to do with shyness. I'm not a shy person. I'm not reserved. It's not that I don't like large crowds. It's just that how I get my energy does not come from the external world. I get my energy very much through my own internal world. I like to be alone. I like to be by myself. I like to think about things and reflect and write and read and do things by myself. That doesn't mean that I don't like people. I love people. I just find that being in large crowds all the time, especially when you have a job like mine where you're constantly talking to people, constantly interacting with people, it can be really, really draining. And so I need to make sure that I take the time out to recharge. And how I recharge is I have to recharge alone and separately, away from people. And that's not to say that I am, again, shy or, you know, anything like that. Shyness typically has to do more with fear and nothing really to do with introversion. So don't think, if you are shy, don't think that you're automatically an introvert, because that may not be the case. Generally, you will find introverts that are, you know, quieter. And I just think that there are some people who are like that. But then you'll have people like me who I can certainly stand in front of a crowd and talk, and I've done that on multiple occasions. I've done workshops and trainings and, you know, sang in front of 20,000 people before, and had nothing to do with shyness or reservation at all. I'm generally a pretty confident person when it comes to that. I can go through long stretches of periods of time where I am just constantly with people, talking to people, helping people, training people, having conversations, meeting new people. What I need to do though is I need to make sure that I find the time to just get to myself. And it can be 15 minutes, like it can be all of 15 minutes. So when I was talking to a friend of mine, I said, if you ever see me like at a party or a large gathering and I'm like in the room with the children, that means that I'm just having an introverted moment, and I just need like 15 minutes, because it can be overwhelming. For somebody who's an introvert, it is very overwhelming to be around that many people all the time. Those small talk conversations, what do you do? Where are you from? Those are very, very draining for me, and can sometimes be stressful and make me want to run into a corner and just lay in the fetal position and rock back and forth. I mean, that's, in all honesty, sometimes what I'm thinking on the inside, but you will never see that on the outside, because I'm always just very, you know, smiley and bubbly and personable, and so people get very confused and they think that I am an extrovert, but really, I'm not. I'm an introvert, but I'm high functioning. Okay, so extroverted people are not always loud and boisterous and obnoxious in the center of the party. Like, that's just not how that works. Extroverted people like to get their energy from the external world, so they need to be around things or around people because it recharges them. So for them, they would say, oh man, you know, I really need to relax. Like, for them, a relaxing time would be like to go to the beach with a whole bunch of people, and they don't necessarily have to be talking to them. They just need to be in the presence of a lot going on in their surroundings, because that is how they recharge. Extroverted Extroverts can generally walk into the room, make a new friend very, very easily. You know, no one is a stranger. They love people to come over to their house. They love to entertain. Now, this is a very broad overview of introversion versus extroversion, obviously. So don't think because you are shy, you're automatically an introvert, and don't think because you are automatically, you know, louder that you're an extrovert. I will put some links down below. There are psychological assessments that you can take to determine whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. I remember actually about 15 years ago when I first took the Myers-Briggs personality type test, it told me that I was an introvert, and I thought that that was completely wrong. I was like, how is it? Because again, I'm always generally, you know, kind of talkative and, you know, outgoing, what would seem to be outgoing. But I think when you get down to the nitty-gritty and you find out how I recharge myself by being alone. And once I learned that, I think it changed a lot, because back then I was in a position where I was always exhausted and I couldn't really figure out why I was always exhausted. And I think it was because I was just around people all the time and I wasn't giving myself the time to recharge. So extroverts need to be aware of that too. Like if you are always alone, you need to find time to get out and, you know, absorb external things to make sure that you're getting energy. That's just how people are. So again, I'll put links below, personality type tests down below. This is actually a very, very good topic because you will find that you might surprise yourself once you've actually figured out whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. I find that in real life, I think that my closest circle of friends are more introverted, and I think that's on purpose because if my closest circle of friends were extroverted, I would just be drained and exhausted all the time. So I think just naturally I'm going to gravitate more towards introverted people. I don't particularly like concerts, and I don't particularly like going to large events like weddings, for example, because those are very draining for me, because you know you have to mingle and there's a lot of people, and I know it sounds very, very weird. People love concerts, people love going to weddings. I love celebrating with my friends who are getting married, but to sit there and try and you know, mingle with people that I don't know, and it's very exhausting. And so at the end of the day, I'm pooped, and even if I didn't do anything, even if all I did was sit at a table, I'm exhausted because it takes a lot of energy to kind of be in that space for an introvert. That's my version of introversion. Some people may be different depending on whether or not you are shy, depending on kind of, you know, what your job position entails. Maybe you're an accountant and you never have to talk to people and you can just lock yourself in an office and crunch numbers and you're totally fine. Or maybe you are like me, where you deal with people a lot, and so you have to interact and be friendly and be cordial and kind of play the game, but really on the inside you're like, I just want to cower and be in my bedroom by myself. So that's typically how I think. I don't know, I'm weird quirky thing. I hope that this was helpful for anybody who was curious about introversion versus extroversion. It's, again, a topic of conversation I have weekly with someone, so I thought I would do a video on it and see what you guys' thoughts are. Let me know in the comments down below what you are, introvert, extrovert. Have you ever taken one of those psychological assessments? Did the results surprise you? I would love to know and kind of see where you guys are on that. Hope you guys are having a really awesome day, and I hope that you enjoyed the video. I will see you guys next time. Take care.